Okay, I'm gonna confess this right now. This game might actually be partially responsible for my drop of activity in YouTube. I'm honestly not that big of a Final Fantasy fan. In fact, I have a pretty negative opinion of the franchise, which I'm not gonna get into. But this game specifically has been loads of fun. And I didn't think I was gonna get this into it when I first played it, but I gave the trial a shot. I got to level 20 in like 6 hours, and I got a subscription. I got really into the game, which I'm sure you haven't heard that before at this point. Anyway, if you guys don't know, Final Fantasy XIV is the most recent Final Fantasy MMO from Square Enix. And while there are some throwbacks to older Final Fantasy games in there, the content in 14, for the most part, is purely original, and all of the throwbacks don't necessarily ruin the experience for people who aren't fans. I don't mean that to sound mean or anything, but it is something that I feel particularly strong about. I like when references can be caught by fans, but a lot of times developers fall into the trap of bringing too much attention to the reference and then just kind of ruining it for people who don't get the reference. This game doesn't do that. If people get the reference, then that's fine. But if people don't get the reference, it doesn't, destroy your enjoyment of the game or anything like that. It's just there as an aside. It's not wholly important, and I like that. As an example, there's actually a bar in Final Fantasy XIV called 7th Heaven. Now, if you're a Final Fantasy VII fan, you're going to know exactly what that means. You're going to know the context of that bar as it relates to Final Fantasy VII, and you're going to wonder if Final Fantasy XIV is going to use that bar in the same context that Final Fantasy VII used it. But if you're not a fan, the game doesn't necessarily make a big deal of the fact that the bar is called 7th Heaven. It's just called 7th Heaven, and if the story happens to progress in the same manner as Final Fantasy VII, then that's neat, but a newcomer's not going to know that. It's just going to be presented normally, as if the person didn't know. And that's a good way of throwing a reference in there without bringing too much attention to the reference. It's just there. That's good. That's how you do it. But I don't just like this game because it knows how to deal with references. I also like this game because I feel like it streamlined the MMO experience better than most other MMOs have. Like, one of the oldest things that MMOs do is that when you level up, you have to go to a trainer and you have to spend your money to earn your freaking skills so that you can actually use them. Well, in 14, you don't do that. In 14, you rarely go to your trainer. In 14, when you rank up, you get the skills automatically, you don't have to pay for anything, which means that you can save your money for the stuff that you actually want to spend it on, like gear, or glamours, or things that make your character look pretty. I don't freaking know. But the point is, just removing the concept of going back to your trainer to train on those skills just makes the experience a lot more enjoyable. I mean, there are some skills that you get from your trainer, and you go back to your trainer every 5 levels to do a quest for them. And I think every 3 or 2 quests or something like that, you earn a skill that you only earn by doing that quest, but that's the point. Doing a quest for them is a much more fun way to actually get a skill than just paying for it. It really is amazing how this MMO just takes the experience of playing an MMO and makes it more fun than it's been in the past. It just kind of takes these notions that we've accepted as standards in MMOs and just decides, who cares? Whatever, we'll just do what we want with it. Is it more fun if we don't do the standard thing? Then let's not do the standard thing. And I feel like that was the overall philosophy behind this game. I don't know anything about Vanilla 14. Apparently Vanilla 14 was the most horrible thing in the world. But I'm not judging it based on that. I'm judging it based on what it is now. And what it is now is great. If you'd like to try out Final Fantasy XIV, you can actually download a free trial for the game that lets you play up until level 20, and I don't know, I guess it lasts like a week or 2, and it's completely free. You can download the client, you can get the trial, you can try it out, no strings attached. If you like it, you can get a subscription. If not, just leave it alone, who cares? But honestly, Final Fantasy XIV is one of my favorite MMOs, and if you haven't tried it yet, please pick up the trial and check it out. I promise that it's at least going to give you a good time.